so today we're finally going to be reading His Infatuation / Ex-Listener Up in Here, Book 3. And we are currently in Chapter 13, but we is going to go back a chapters for the purpose of thy recap. So, this one requires a little bit more backing up, so it kind of makes a little more sense. So, if you guys don't remember for the previous recaps and the whole story in general, which if you don't, please go watch those videos instead. They will be up in there on the right if you want to go view them right now before you continue watching this video. But anywho, for the ones who did watch it fully or most of it or whatever, you should know that Billy and Stu, we took care of them after, what they did. They ended up going home-ish. And next day, when we think they wouldn't be healed, they would probably be like stuck in bed, with all those wounds that they gave themselves. They came back to school like completely brand new people. And I'm like, how the hell does that work? So, Wine is obviously concerned because she thought she wouldn't see their faces, at least for like, I don't know how long humans take to heal with those injuries, but a hot minute. So, she was like, I'm going to speak with you guys in the library. I'm going to speak with you guys in the library. And then kind of having to throw her friends are like, whoa, what's going on? I'm like, no, nothing. I just need to ask my mom. And then she dogged them both to the library. And they're all having like a little argument / how the hell did you heal up so fast / what are we from there? And then after, we figure, how the hell they heal up so fast would just be, it was because, the author just magically forgot and then just magically, yeah. So, later on, they start talking about what they are in the relationship, if they're going to be boyfriend and girlfriend, how it's going to work, and all that shiz jam. And y'all could have guessed Billy was against the whole, 7,000 trillion boyfriends or something. And eventually, it got to an agreement, but Billy was obviously not happy about it. He got a little crazy, but we kind of calmed him down for a little bit. Just a little bit. But Stu was the most, one with the common sense and the knowledge. And I'm like, that's the man right there. So, yeah, that's kind of like how it ended. And he's like, fine, we'll agree to this, but we're not happy about it. Like, they could do anything. Like, it's not necessarily her decision. It's not our decision. It's more of, if I don't date them, they risk hurting my everything. And I'm like, it's not really her choice no more. Like, if we're so smart, then why do you think it's still her choice? Or their choice? Y'all get the point, okay? Y'all get the point. Y'all are a little smarter than these people, okay? Anyways, before we get started, let's get a hear of them warnings. For the warnings going into these chapters, there will be mentions of a lot of manipulation, toxic relationships, you know how it is, guys, airhead, and this is specifically referring to YN because she is an airhead, I swear, stressful situations, fighting, obsessions. Now, I would add more warnings, but guys, remember, this is a slasher story. You're dating like 6 slashers at the moment. Y'all should know what's expected. It's a name. It's slashers, kills. So, if you guys are too uncomfortable, you might not want to watch this video or the series at all. Y'all have been warned. We're in Chapter 13, Ghostface, Irritations. Okay, thank you. You thank Stu gratefully, breaking free of Billy's grasp before clapping your hand together against your chest. I can't tell you how much this means to me, really. Honestly, this is so bullshit. Billy muttered maliciously, shaking his head as he leaned backwards into his chair. Those 6 are so selfish. They're not, you unhappily persisted, biting your lip whilst you worried over his mental state again. I promised you that they're not. I agreed to this. I agreed to them all. Hannibal, Mikael, Jason, Freddy, Norman, Pennywise. I gave my word that I would keep their secret and that I would also keep them company in return for my mother's safety. I'm like, so I totally agree to this, So they used emotional blackmail on you and tricked you into agreeing to their own personal demands. The dark-haired male retorted hotly, clenching his fist while he flashed a cold look towards Stu. They took advantage of your love for your mother and used it against you. They just didn't know what they were doing, that's all. Quickly defending your partners, you grasped at straws and wondered how to word things, realizing how bad it must look to others, because it is bad, you idiot. They don't really know how to socialize or interact with the rest of the humanity yet. Don't you see, YN? Billy shot back sharply, standing up and slamming his hands down on the library table before delving into his disturbed state yet again. They're messing with you. They're playing with your feelings and benefiting from your empathetic emotions. They're not doing it on purpose, you argued in annoyance, standing up with him and shooting him a glare of hurt. They did it to protect me. From what exactly? Stu dryly quizzed, standing up with the both of you and questioning what you meant. Your mom? Your friends? The rest of society? Well, I'm not exactly sure, but they're trying to isolate you, YN. Trying to cut you off from the rest of the world, little by little. Stu pointed out quietly, taking hold of your hand before giving them a gentle squeeze. No, you're wrong, you faintly snapped, their comments causing you to sound and feel now tremendously hurt by this point. You're just trying to get me on my good side and make them look like the bad guy, so you can either accept my dating offer or go back to being the unwanted admirers, and have me block your phone numbers for the rest of your lives. Your choice. This is why I don't do well under peer pressure, mate. Stu murmured with a stressful expression, his hold on your hands tightening whilst he shared another look of despair with Billy. You're way too stubborn sometimes. What? You actually want to give into this? Half laughing in disbelief, Billy grew frustrated, becoming betrayed and backstabbed himself as he gritted his teeth like before. You can't be serious. Stu, remember how we worked far too hard for this. They're just using her. Remember? We got this. We learned their fighting tactics. We've learned their individual mindsets. We know how to switch positions if necessary. I wouldn't call it giving in, Billy. Stu trailed off uncomfortably, trying not to strike up any more conflict between the three of you. Right now, all I really want is to date YN, like we worked for. Seriously, I swear to you that I will keep my word, you told them in a truthful tone. Attempting to calm Billy down and pacify the situation altogether, I will willingly and gladly date you both. You can hang out wherever you want to, as long as you can accept me dating the others, and accept me hanging out with my friends also, that's all. This is a terrible idea, Billy hissed furiously, snatching one of your wrists in his and therefore pulling your hand straight out of Stu's. Do you know the danger you're currently in right now? You could die at any given moment, and yet you're still willing to go through this. So why? Why? Because I'm not afraid of them. Sure, Norman's a little bit unpredictable from time to time, and Freddie can sometimes be a little bit annoying, but they never intentionally hurt me, you fiercely replied, narrowing your eyes before protecting your partner's dignity once again. So sorry, I tried so hard not to comment, but this is redonkulous. I think, you can see the cracks in her, painting, covering the surface with paint. Whenever there's a hole in the wall and you try to cover it up, with paint or something, put a thick amount of paint in that hole and just try and cover as much as you can, but it'll still, and you think it's a fresh wall, it looks amazing from a distance, but when you go up close and you really start poking and prodding, holes are that's already been there, we expand it. And that's what is happening just with us about our partners. We think they're amazing, we think they're this, but from a distance, but in reality, they're terrible. They know what they're doing. Especially Hannibal knows what he's doing. They are not 5 years old. They are what? In their 20s, 30s, and 40s probably. One is 1,000, but you get the point. They know what they're doing most of the time. And if they don't, let them figure it out. That's a them problem. That's not a us problem. That doesn't say YN in the problem. You know what I'm saying? So it's like that. Like, it looks good. The relationship looks amazing from the distance. But when you go up close and really start picking and prodding, you're just going to reveal those holes and going to expand them more and more with the truth of how truly terrible her partners are. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, they can be good sometimes, but how it started and how it's going to be probably go is not going to be any good, and it's probably going to be toxic and just overwhelming. Like think of just how bad it is. Like, this girl has black under her eyes, looks pale, looks skinny, looks like she hasn't slept in days, looks stressed out. I mean, if that doesn't tell you enough just how exhausting those people can be, just trying to get her attention as much as possible, even at the cost of her health, is freaking insane. So that's just me, guys. Like, I don't think this will ever be healthy. Like, yeah, it has its cute moments, but never forget that it definitely isn't worth being in a relationship with them. Anyways, I've been talking for too long. Anywho, what do we have to prove? What do we have to prove to you that they're no good for you? The hot-headed male spoke stably, yeah. His grip growing tighter once he interacted with you. All we want to do is to protect you because we love you. Do you understand us? Those psychos don't even know a single thing about love, YN. They seem to know more than you do, going by the looks of things. You sternly muttered under your breath, giving them one last chance to agree and accept your partners. Please, can you just agree to it? You don't have to speak to any of them. Stu fell silent for a second or two, plainly becoming hesitant once he listened to your words and took in your demands. Oopsie. Then he shared another look towards Billy, as if contemplating what they should actually do. I hate this. I really, really hate this. Billy remarked sourly, his stroppy personality and sulky attitude ruining the atmosphere entirely. All we want for you is to hate them. Why the hell is that so hard? Because I don't want to hate them, to be perfectly honest. I don't really think I could. You decided lightly, not wanting to lie and gloss over how you actually felt. They even vowed to let me visit my mom again from time to time, so, see? Everything's working out. I'll be getting my new phone the very next day, too. I'll be able to text and call my previous contacts once more. Everything will be fine. I promise. This is utterly ridiculous. Billy flared up resentfully, his stubborn mannerism shining through along with his obsessive personality. You can't actually be considering all of this crap. Can you now, Stu? Now, come on, dude. After all we've been through, you can't just back out on me now, buddy. Please, guys, can you just hang out with me and see things from my point of view? No. You desperately requested, growing even more stressed out when you heard the bell ring for your next psychology lesson. Let's just take it one step at a time and see where it goes from there, okay? Fine, I'll try, but I'm not interacting with any of them. Kruger, Myers, Voorhees, Bates, Lecter, we want is to stay with you. Stu possessively commanded, grabbing your other wrist before staring into your eyes with an insane glint spread across his gaze. That's all we really want, is to stay with you, isn't it, Billy? I don't know about this, Stu. Billy huffed hatefully, ignoring the university's afternoon classes completely and then glaring at his friend with distrust. Why should we agree to this? This agreement is just another accident just waiting to happen, and you know this. Come on. You sighed disappointingly, your eyes gleaming with a desperate expression and a pleading glance. I can't stand another fight over me. It hurts. I just want everyone to get along. I'll gladly date you two. I just want you to both to accept the other 6. And for the other 6 to accept you guys. That's all. Really. Please. Billy? Stu's already accepting. It's not that much to ask for, was it? That's a lot to ask for, actually. Like, think of how much time you would have to sacrifice to spend with not 1, not 2, not 4, not 5, not 6, not 7, 8 people. Like, in one singular day. That's insanity. Like, 8 boyfriends. And those are not even the ones that are new. There's new ones coming. 8 boyfriends. That's crazy. That's actually a lot to ask for, if I don't say so myself. Anyways, chapter 14. Lack of tact. Fine. Billy muttered under his breath finally, his words only being just audible. I'll put up with those freaks and keep myself under control. As long as I keep getting to hang out with you. Really? That's awesome. Thank you so much. Really flooded your veins where you bursted out and thanked him dramatically. Flinging your arms around his body with a tremendous amount of gratitude before resting your chin on top of his shoulder. You have no idea how much this means to me. Like, seriously. You're actually agreeing to this? Stu stammered with a shocked expression, not expecting Billy to agree what you wanted. You're kidding me right now. If it means I get to keep seeing you, and if that's what makes you happy, then fine. The hothead male decided fiercely, his feisty attitude striking up once again. But I'm not socializing with any of them. Understand? They're psychos. Okay. Fine. Just try to calm down. You pleaded in a begging tone of voice, feeling anxious over his general mindset. Please? All I want to do right now is to keep spending time with you. Billy obsessively mentioned, delving into his mental state right after agreeing to your request. That's not too much to ask for now, is it? It's only the rest of the afternoon. Surely you don't have anything else planned now, do you? His remark made your eyes widen in surprise, reminding you of several other things that you had to do. Crap. Thanks for reminding me, you exclaimed in alarm, breaking free from the hug as you suddenly recalled multiple thoughts. I completely forgot about hearing the bell ring for my last class. Not to mention my daily visit to the Camp Crystal Lake and Jason. Wait, Ryan! Sorry, Stu, but I really have to go. You interrupted him regretfully, snatching up your book bag before swiftly shoving it over your shoulder. Perhaps we can chat when classes have ended? Mikael and Penny usually pick me up over by the university's entrance. So yeah, Ryan, stop. There's still more that I need to talk to you about. Acting possessive, Billy tried his best to stop you from leaving. Genuine frustration dripping from his tone as he gripped your wrist again and yanked you back in his general direction. We're not finished. Sorry, but I really can't continue this conversation. I really gotta go. You responded in a panicked fashion, pulling your arm away from Billy's and hurrying towards the library's main doors. Catch you guys later after class. I'll be with Mikael and Penny, alright? Bye. Nice going, Dick. You heard Stu sharply, realizing that those two don't exactly get along 24/7. What the fuck did I do? Billy snapped back furiously, the clingy killer now sounding insanely pissed off. It's about what you didn't do. Stu scolded in a frustrated voice, clenching his fist and shaking his head from aggravation. Are you still pissed off about that time I fucking hit you with the phone? Billy's next comment caused you to laugh, stifling your giggles with your hand as best as you could and trying your hardest not to eavesdrop. But it was difficult. One, because those two were strangely amusing, and second, because their argument was unexpectedly entertaining. Slightly. But if you hadn't reminded her, I obviously didn't mean to, Billy angrily retorted, gritting his teeth before glaring at Stu with a huge amount of hatred. If you had any ounce of brain power, you'd realize that what I was going for was called tact. You fuck rag. What? Are you serious? Stu half laughed with a sneer, disbelief flowing from his tone as he began arguing with his partner in crime. What the hell was the tact there? You made us lose her again, idiot. Releasing a sigh of exasperation, you shook your head and left the university's library altogether, speed walking towards your class and knowing that your professor wasn't going to be all that pleased with your behavior. Sorry for being late, miss. You apologized in an ashamed manner, dipping your head whilst you felt extremely embarrassed by your actions. I really didn't mean to be so late. Don't worry, Miss Ellen. I think we've all gotten quite used to it by now. So please, take your seat. Your teacher really, I don't know how to say that word, greeted, rolling their eyes and making you grow even more flustered. Now, are we all ready to continue? Yes, sorry. You addressed the class with a humiliated glance, clapping your hands together and pressing them both against your chest. I'll go and take my seat now. You should have taken it while you were talking, but okay. Blushing, you ignored the soft giggles from your classmates and also took out your textbook, along with your notes that you jotted down from Rose. Minutes ticked by like mere seconds once you'd taken your seat next to the window, a warm smile spreading across your face like wildfire after you noticed Miguel watching you over by his usual stalking spot. Of course, you didn't let him distract you from your studies, but you blew him a very sweet kiss and interacted with him a little bit regardless. You weren't sure where Pennywise was exactly, but you knew he'd pop up and appear the moment you were done for the day. You didn't even need to worry, considering that the killer clown had taken note of your precise schedule. To be perfectly honest, it was a little bit creepy. But you also found it rather cute, too. Not to mention that Mikael had also taken note of basically everything about you and what you did on a daily basis. Sure enough, as you were done with classes for the day, you said goodbye to your friends and hurried towards the university's front gates, bumping straight into your partners while you were at it. Hi, Mika. Hey, Mikael. Hey, Penny. It's good to see you guys. You affectionately greeted, letting your partners fling their arms around your body and engulf you in a loving embrace. So, how have you two been? Are you both okay? I guess. Penny shrugged carelessly, shooting you a cheeky grin before twirling you around. Doesn't mean I didn't miss you, though, sweetie. But I've only been gone for a few hours, you lightly commented, enjoying said hug and loving cuddle. I can't. Sorry, it's so funny. You couldn't have missed me all that much. Breaking apart from the hug, Miguel swiftly scribbled his response. Breaking apart from the hug... Oh, I reread this. I'm sorry, guys. Passing you his trusty notepad after a few seconds, whilst he watched your eyes skim over his note. Geez, might as well be dang Shakespeare how much I'm reading. I've missed you more than you could ever imagine. You have absolutely no idea. Putting up with this motherfucker and being apart from you was completely and utter agony. Miguel wrote in an irritating scrawl, wrapping his arms around you a second time before forcefully dragging you into his chest. Believe me, I think I can tell. You spoke sarcastically, wrapping your arms around him while you comfortingly snuggled into his body. I'm sorry, it's so funny. You've made how you feel pretty obvious to me by now, Mikael. So, are you two ready to walk me over to Camp Crystal Lake yet? After all, my classes have finished for the day. Why, of course we are, sugar. Pennywise seductively... What is this, Freddy now? Pennywise seductively purred, placing both of his hands on top of your shoulders from behind before squeezing them. Wouldn't miss spending time with you for the world, even if it means putting up with this pale-faced psycho. Sometimes. Pennywise, please. You sighed desperately. I'm sorry. Despairingly, shaking your head and doing your best to keep them from fighting. You know, I don't like when you purposely set off others, and I know you do it intentionally too. So just don't. Oh, come on. Penny messed around playfully, a tinge of mischief glinting across his glance as he curled his arms around your neck and pulled you into his chest instead. Is it a crime to be honest? To tell the truth about how you really feel? Besides, Mikey boy here has probably slagged me off more than once. None of us really like each other around here, sweet face. I know. You realized with disappointment, rolling your eyes while she broke away from the slasher's hug. Trust me, I know. Chapter 15. Stupid Squabble. With a cold glare, Mikhail stepped forwards and shoved Pennywise backwards, the stalker holding his kitchen knife straight afterwards, as the clown had clearly hit some sort of sore spot. This, of course, caused you to grow alarmed, mostly because the three of you were still by the university's entrance, and also because students were continuing to exit the building for the day. But what could have been the sore spot? Surely Mikhail wouldn't have been set off by a simple insult. So what could have... Thinking back to your previous conversation, your eyes widened, realizing what could have been the breaking point towards the pale-faced male, the shoulder squeezing and hugging around your neck. He probably felt jealous. Releasing a sigh, you took a deep breath and stepped in between them, attempting to calm your silent partner down while regaining control of the chaotic situation altogether. But before you could say anything, Pennywise laughed psychotically, vanishing from sight as he reappeared and sent Mikhail flying across the street. Sorry, Mikey boy. The clown chuckled wickedly, but you're gonna have to do a lot better than that. Michael! For the first time in forever, guys. We're gonna stick with Mikhail, though. Mikhail! You called out in a shocked voice, your eyes widening as you ran over to the road to reach him. Across the road to reach him. Are you okay? You're not hurt anywhere, are you? Relax. It's not like I killed him or something. Pennywise angelically cooed, teleporting next to you and hugging you by the waist. Besides, he started it. He's not entirely innocent either, you know. Don't you think I know that? You sharply retorted, growing somewhat defensive and annoyed by Pennywise's playful behavior. Both of you are to blame here anyway, so don't even start with that. It's not about those whose fault it is. It's about suspicion. You guys could have been caught. I suppose. The clownish killer lazily agreed, pulling a face at Mikhail before leaning back against the street's wall. Then again, I don't think I'm stupid enough to get caught, unlike Stocky Boy over here. Penny! Mikhail shot to his feet within seconds, slashing at it with his knife as his swift attack and sudden speed caught Pennywise off guard. Oh, really? You honestly think that someone of your caliber could actually take me on? He laughed wildly, biting back with force after dodging the silent stalker's following attacks. Guys, please, anywhere but here. You desperately pleaded, clasping your hands together and pressing them against your chest due to your anxiety. You're gonna cause suspicion and... YN, what's going on? Is everything alright? A familiar voice interrupted, cutting into your conversation from the other side of the street and making you freak out even further. Yeah, you weren't where you told us you'd be. Stu pointed out while he casually crossed the road with Billy. After all, didn't you say you'd be waiting by the university's entrance, along with Myers and It? You didn't lie to us now, did you? Well, no, I didn't. You replied to Billy and Stu in a hurt tone, feeling more and more stressed out by the second. I didn't lie to you, I swear it. Mikhail and Penny just had a slight fight. That's all. I didn't... It's just a little skerfuffle. That's all. Are you okay? Billy wondered with worry, reaching you first so he could cradle your cheeks and caress them in concern. You're not hurt or anything now, are you? I'm fine. Don't worry. We would never hurt her. You useless human being. Pennywise darkly snapped, shifting into his dark... I always wonder, like, is the darker form like the spider thing? Freaks me out. Shifting into his darker self as his playfulness crumbled away like a cracked cookie. How dare you even suggest such a thing? Yeah, about that. Stu introduced smugly, intertwining one of his hands with yours before softly squeezing it. We know all about what you did to her, about how you abducted her, took her into the sewers, attempted to kill her off like the other kids. You almost got away with it, too, if you hadn't been stopped. What happened in the past was none of your business. Penny hissed frustratingly, rage gleaming in his gaze whilst he clenched his fists together. This has absolutely nothing to do with you two, you pathetic mortals. So, here's an idea. Why don't you both just go back to stabbing yourselves for no reason, huh? Huh? Pennywise, please don't start anything. You wearily begged, your exhaustion increasing as you held one hand up in distress. Please, they're chill now. Yes, they were the unwanted admirers, but they don't mean any harm. All they want to do is hang out with me from time to time, just like the others do. And you're fine with that, right? Right? Oh my god, you see this? I'm sorry, but Jesus Christ. Damn, she's like a cloud in the air, has no idea what's going on. No, I'm not okay with that. I agreed to help you walk them home and sneak them out of the university. But that was it. Understand? Those two can go straight to hell. Mikhail wrote down maliciously, answering your question way before Pennywise had the chance to. Mikhail, come on, you unhappily groaned, staring down at the ground with dejection and disappointment. All I really want to do right now is to head over to Camp Crystal Lake and visit Jason. So, are you all coming with me or not? I'll happily come. Stu agreed right off the bat, throwing you a tremendously sweet smile as he squeezed your hand a second time. After all, if it means another way of keeping you safe. Doesn't it, Billy? Oh, yeah, it does. Billy responded in an awkward and unusually uncomfortable voice, pulling you into a very tight hug and resting his head promptly on top of yours. As long as I get to stay with you, I'll go wherever you want me to go. I promise, indefinitely. How sentimental and silly can one being possibly get? Penny sneered at him spitefully, smacking Billy away from you and therefore breaking the embrace altogether. This is ridiculous. Why not just let me and the others take them out right here, right now? Because I made an agreement with them, you announced in a high-pitched tone, now sounding immensely stressed out while you attempted to calm down the situation. They're not a threat anymore. Besides, taking them out right here, right now would be a terrible idea. You will cause a scene and attract attention, and that's what you're all against, isn't it? Isn't it? Mikhail shook his head silently, his hand gripping your wrist like earlier as he yanked you back in the direction and away from Billy's and Stu's. Your heart pounding, you fearfully looked towards Penny, praying that the killer clown would calm down or at least stop fighting. But your clownish partner was just grinning insanely, an evil glint sparkling across his gaze as he stood protectively in front of you. Panicking, you looked towards Billy and Stu, wondering how on earth they were going to react to such a high level of violence. To your relief and slight worry, the two mouths' expressions merely darkened, both of them taking out dangerous weapons out of their own before standing directly opposite you. Oh God, how is this fight going to go down? How would you pacify and prevent such conflict between them all? Could you even... What could you even do? What were you supposed to... YN? Whatever's the matter? Is something wrong? Another concerned voice called out gently, snapping you out of your stressed out state and calming you down a little bit more. What are you all doing all the way across the street? Your usual route back home is in the other direction, isn't it? Slay. Chapter 16. Continuing alone. Hannibal, how come you're here? You stammered in shock, your eyes widening from surprise as you watched the psychiatrist calmly brush past Pennywise and Mikhail to reach you. You're usually still at work or at home by this point, so what are you doing? Well, when I arrived home and noticed that you hadn't returned yet, I became relatively concerned over your well-being, Hannibal pleasantly remarked, taking in both of your hands in his before giving them a very delicate squeeze. Let's just say that my assumptions were correct when I decided on distrusting the unwanted admirers here. Hey, Billy and Stu didn't even do anything, you firmly protested, defending them almost at once as you narrowed your eyes instead. It was Penny's fault for provoking them in the first place. Why, of course it was, dearest, he softly spoke, still holding your hands in his while he continued interacting with you. Pennywise was born a troublemaker, just as Meyer was. Didn't I warn you just this morning that it's simply in their nature to keep being cruel? Are you trying to pick a fight with me? You retaliated coldly, your narrowed eyes swirling into one of a glare, because your patronizing tone and condescending mannerisms are seriously not helping right now. The only warning I need right now is to be mindful of how you treat others, especially me. Pick a fight with you? Hannibal innocently questioned, his expression now showing nothing but curiosity and confusion. Whatever for? I would never pick a fight with you. Why? What would be the point? That would be rather unnecessary. Don't you think so, dearest? You didn't know what to say, how to react to his words, or even how to resolve the situation. Glancing from Hannibal to Penny to Miguel to eventually Billy and Stu. All I want is to go and visit Jason at Camp Crystal Lake while I still have the time. Now, you guys can either walk me there or I can walk there by myself. So are you guys coming with me or not? Well, I'm not one to turn down a good time, especially with you. Billy playfully commented, flashing you a warm grin and brightening up the atmosphere. I'm with Stu. If it means keeping you safe and getting to hang out together, I'm entirely down for it. Yeah, same. You told us we'd keep hanging out together after classes ended, didn't you? Stu reminded lightheartedly, hugging you from the side while ignoring how irritated he was making it and Mikael. You wouldn't dare go back on your word now, would you? You actually made a promise with these two? Hannibal quizzically inquired, his puzzled frown and bewildered expression making you feel even embarrassed. Whatever for? You must have known by now that we had the upper hand when it came to the unwanted admirers, and that we could clearly take them out if needs be. Yet you decided to spare them all of a sudden, even after what they'd done to you, how they treated you. You're not 100% innocent either, Hannibal. You sternly argued, shaking your head and pulling your hands away from his before grasping your bag's strap, deciding just to head to Camp Crystal Lake but yourself. So don't act all high and mighty. I just want to hang out with all of you, without any more drama. Duly noted. Politely smiling, the psychiatrist dipped his head as a nod and respected your wishes, easily catching up to you as he carried on walking by your side. You know, I would never cause you any deliberate drama, YN. As if. Stu shot back sulkily, his sour tone and hateful expression causing you to curse internally. We may have learned about it and its behavior towards YN, but that doesn't mean that Billy and I haven't learned about the rest of you. Oh, and what exactly is that supposed to prove? Hannibal asked uncaringly, throwing them each a smug smirk before he nonchalantly raised his eyebrows. Oh, I get it now. I had no idea that YN's unwanted admirers would also take interest in men as well. That's not what he meant, and you know that. Billy flared in frustration, losing his composure as he gritted his teeth and clenched his fist. You sadistic motherfucker. You're just toying with us, making us look even more like the bad guys while you outplacing yourselves and the others in the light. I'd say you two are making yourselves look like the bad guys with or without our help. Pennywise scoffed slyly, teleporting every few minutes to keep the pace with you instead of walking. I'm surprised why I even made that agreement with you two in the first place. Stop it. Listen, I'd make it loud and dramatic, guys, but I'm tired. I'm tired, so let's pretend it's really loud and dramatic, like Veronica, like, like in Telemundo. So let's just pretend I'm doing it that dramatic, guys. 1, 2, 3, action. Stop it. I'm sorry. You stressfully cried aloud. I'm gonna skip the stop because I did it too many times. You stressfully cried out, standing still and staring down at the ground with anger. I made the agreement to keep everyone happy, to keep everything under control. But this is the exact opposite of what I was going for. YN? Stu called your name hesitantly, his face filled with worry as he placed his hand on Billy's shoulder and forced him to calm down. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to make you feel bad. This was the exact opposite of what. You know what? You yelled out dramatically, spinning around and facing them all at once. I'm gonna go visit Jason by myself. The rest of you can go back to what you were doing beforehand. You guys don't even like each other, let alone Camp Crystal Lake. I'll catch up with you all later. Why, darling, I really don't think that's a very good idea, Hannibal soothingly specified, clasping one of your hands between the both of his before stepping a couple inches closer. This is an indescribable amount of creeps out there, not to mention the insanely high amount of danger. I think it's better if you just, I'll be fine. You tearfully snapped, yanking your hand out of Hannibal's and turning back around. I've walked home from university tons of times before, and I've rarely encountered any sort of danger. Heading over to Camp Crystal Lake won't be a problem. I've got this. Yikes. What sets you off all of a sudden, Sweet Pea? Oh, this fucker, I swear. He's turning more like Freddy every day. Penny curiously cooed, leaning against another street's wall before crossing his arms and looking at you with genuine bemusement. You really don't interact with our kind much, do you? Billy muttered towards Pennywise rudely, sharing a look with Stu while they contemplated what to do. Ignoring the angry tears that pricked at the edge of your eyes, you tiredly said a quick goodbye to them all and headed in the direction of Camp Crystal Lake instead, not caring about the upcoming consequences. You were just so exhausted, so frustrated with them all. It was like you needed to spend time away from them and to cool off with Cadence. But you made a promise to Jason, Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays, whether you liked it or not. Besides, spending time with him wasn't that bad. And camp scenery was stunning. Yeah, you were just wiped out. That was all. You just needed to get it together and take a breather. Miguel, Penny, Hannibal, Billy, and Stu had just overwhelmed you. So it would most likely be better for you if you just hung out with Jason and to take a relaxing walk around the lake with him. Speaking of which, Wyatt, you're here. You're finally here. Did she make a pinky promise with these men? Like, did she straight up go like, I pinky promise? Because trust me, if they no pinky promise and they didn't crisscross or you crisscross, you can break the promise. It's okay. It's okay. At some point, sometimes it's best to break promises, especially like those, like that one. Yeah, those are too many days. Okay, max 1 hour. Okay, but with Jason, I give him all the hours in the world because he's a sweetheart. Chapter 17, Camp Crystal Lake. Jason, it's so good to see you again, you greeted warmly, wrapping your arms around his neck once he trolled you around and brought you into a tremendously loving bear hug. How have you been? What have you been up to? Everything all right so far? The hockey-masked killer merely tilted his head to the side cutely, not understanding why you were so intrigued by what he'd been doing, and why you were so suddenly interrogating him. Okay. Jason answered in a childlike fashion, still continuing to cuddle you, whilst he replied honestly, I defended Crystal Lake. Mommy told me that I did a good job. You did? That's great. I'm really proud of you, Jason. You happily congratulated, your hands sliding from his neck to his shoulders and giving him a gentle rub. I knew you could do it. That's really impressive. Your compliments caused Jason to grow insanely overjoyed, this wholesome killer releasing an indescribable sound of delight before his hold on you tightened, the ecstatic male pulling you into his chest while he rested his head on top of yours. Thank you so much, he cheerfully exclaimed, tears of joy glistening at the side of his eyes as he acted grateful and took your words to heart. Oh, Jason, I didn't mean to make you cry, you spoke sympathetically, shooting him a soft-hearted smile before breaking away and intertwining one of his hands between yours. Please don't cry. Hey, here's an idea. Why don't we walk around Crystal Lake, like we usually do? Isn't that a good idea? Great idea. Jason praised in return, squeezing your hand and using his other hand to pat your head affectionately. Can't wait. Well, whenever you're ready, we can't. You didn't even get to finish. The hand that you and Jason were holding together, not being tugged towards the lake without another word. Whoa, Jason, hold on a second. Come on. Let's go, Wyatt. Let's go. Jason cheered excitingly, his gaze now radiating with glee after your lovely suggestion. Okay, I'm coming. You lightly laughed, your smile widening after seeing how elated he was. He must have been really waiting for Tuesday, huh? That thought made your heart melt, appreciating how affectionate and adorable Jason acted. What a cutie. So, are you ready? You asked him tenderly, the two of you reaching the side of the lake and looking over at the stunningly beautiful scenery. Are you ready to walk around the lake? Uh-huh. Always ready to walk around Camp Crystal Lake with you, YN. I love you. Jason responded loyally, looking at you with nothing but absolute adoration by this point. And I love you too. You told him with a sweet voice, your response making Jason grow unbelievingly happy. The easily excitable killer dragging you into another beloved bear hug. You're about to open your mouth and dryly comment on how, at this rate, you weren't exactly going to be able to walk around the lake, when Jason's gaze suddenly twisted into one of a cold glare, the slasher yanking out one of his pocket knives and gripping it darkly. Jason? You question in a tiny tone. Now feeling incredibly anxious. Is everything all right? What's with the knife? What's going on? I don't know about you, but I don't like being spied on. Jason resentfully growled, listening out while he shut his eyes for a split second. Spied on? What do you mean? By who? You nervously wondered, not knowing how on earth who on earth would want to spy on you two? Is it another trespasser by any chance? Jason thought for a moment, then shook his head sternly, realizing who it was and why they were there. That made him even more enraged, causing the Crystal Lake killer to stomp his foot on the ground and fling his pocket knife violently through the trees. Jason, what was that? What was that for? You panicked tearfully, clutching your chest with both hands and following where his weapon had ended up with shocked eyes. Just watch. Jason furiously snarled, taking out another pocket knife before holding you around the waist protectingly. You're about to ask why, but then surprise fluttered across your face, completely and utterly taken back by who unexpectedly trespassed through the trees. Mikhail? You caught out in disbelief, not expecting the silent stalker to step out from behind a tree and approach the both of you. You're in Crystal Lake? Why? Did something happen? You know you're supposed to wait by the entrance to pick me up, don't you? Don't you? Mikhail, staying silent like usual, decided not to respond. The emotionless male standing only a few inches away from you as he dropped his kitchen knife carelessly on the ground and pulled out his trusty notepad for a minute or two instead. Then he slowly started to scribble his explanation, his stupidly angry scrawl being only just manageable to make out. Man, this man might as well be damn Shakespeare. How much I gotta read from him? Let me see. Here we go. Don't you ever storm off like that again. Running off on your own is stupid. Just stupid. Don't you know how worried I was? Who knows what danger you could have faced? It's not safe here at all. So never enter this place alone a second time. You understand me? First of all, I didn't run off on my own. You stubbornly disagreed, handing his notepad back to him before shaking your head and rolling your eyes. All I did was leave you guys and walk to Camp Crystal Lake by myself. And second of all, the camp isn't dangerous. Jason keeps it safe. He can easily protect me. I think you guys might be overreacting here. How dare you? Jason snapped at Mikhail sharply, the hockey masked slasher taking the stalker's insult to heart and growing overly offended. You're the one who's dangerous, so just leave already, now. The silent male glared icily, his eyes narrowing before he snatched up his kitchen knife from the ground and gripped it hatefully, not showing any intent of leaving your side whilst he stared the other killer down adamantly. Feeling worried, you wondered what to do, knowing how stubborn both Mikhail and Jason were. You knew neither one of them would back down, especially due to Mikhail's blatant disrespect and obvious hate. But what exactly were you supposed to do? It's not like you could just step in the middle of them and tell them off. You weren't their parent. After all, that would be weird. With a sigh, you stood up in front of them and forced them to stay apart, both males calming down slightly and focusing on you instead. Alright, now you had their attention, but what were you supposed to do? It's not as if you had a plan. Guess you just had to step up and make one. Yep, that's on period. Chapter 18. Take the blame. Mikhail, Jason, I think that's enough. You sternly interjected, placing both of your hands against their chest while attempting to keep the situation relatively calm. The two of you are both very clearly hurt and head up. Don't you guys both think that you're behaving a little bit immature here? But he was so mean to me, Jason shouted childishly, furious tears sparkling at the side of his eyes as he clenched his spare hand into a fist and stomped his opposite foot against the dirty ground. Thinking fast, you curled your arms around his body and brought him into a comforting cuddle. Calming the Camp Crystal Lake killer down in the most affectionate way you can think of. I know. You spoke softly, wanting to soothe the agitated male and see things from his perspective. Believe me, I understand. But growing upset and throwing a temper tantrum towards him isn't going to change what he said, now is it? I guess. I guess not. Jason moodily muttered, hugging you back while he averted his silky gaze. But Myers still needs to leave. Worrying over how Mikhail would react to Jason's childish whines, you rubbed the hurt male's back and wondered how to reply, wanting to decrease the conflict and keep them both under control. Easy now. You reassured Jason delicately, flashing Mikhail an anxious glance before looking back in Jason's direction. I can see where you're coming from, really, I can. Camp Crystal Lake is a really personal place for you, and it's also really dear to you as well. So anytime someone enters without permission, it must be really annoying. YN. The hurt slasher mumbled in surprise, not expecting you to pick up on how he usually felt. You noticed, yeah, it does. But even so, you warmly sympathized, moving back and pulling away so you could face Mikhail and Jason both at the same time. You don't need to feel so threatened right now. Mikhail didn't intrude with the sole intention of trespassing or stalk through the woods, purposely trying to damage your property or anything like that. But then why else would he break the rules? Jason demanded to know curiously, frowning in confusion while he lost a little bit more of his juvenile rage. Great question, you sarcastically commented, turning your attention towards Mikhail as you raised your eyebrows and acted slightly petty. Want to answer that for me, Mikhail? The white-masked stalker moved 1 or 2 steps closer, jotting down his response before showing it to the other killer and glaring. Wyan befriended the unwanted admirers, left the group after classes were done, and made her way entirely by herself. She what? Jason angrily yelled, regaining his rage almost immediately whilst you internally cursed. She made her way here by herself? It's not that big of much of a deal, you huffed underneath your breath, feeling more and more embarrassed with every passing second that ticked on by. You guys are taking this way too far. And you guys just let her? The hockey-masked male snapped again, now infuriated by Mikhail and the others' actions. Not on purpose, you idiot. Blame the unwanted admirers, that stupid clown and Hannibal, not me. Mikhail scribbled back sharply, shoving his reply right into Jason's face and behaving just as pissed off as he was. Blame them? Why? Jason questioned slowly, by Mikhail's unexpected hatred towards the others. What did they do? They didn't do anything, you firmly bursted out, pushing Mikhail's notepad down before feeling your temper rise just like earlier. If you want somebody to blame, then blame Mikhail and Pennywise for striking up yet another completely and utterly useless fight. But he said, of course Mikhail's not going to take the blame, you groaned tiredly, placing one palm against your forehead and therefore questioning Jason's innocence. But you have to realize that me walking alone here isn't as dangerous as he made it out to be. After all, I arrived here just fine, didn't I? With another one of his aggravated growls, Jason clenched his right fist and glared at the ground, clearly frustrated by how he couldn't respond, and also by how he couldn't exactly argue. Still, he grumbled unhappily, avoiding your eyes for like a minute or two before looking towards you again. It's dangerous for you to walk alone. It's not that unsafe, you protested fiercely, becoming annoyed by yourself and sighing with exasperation. All I did was walk through the university's front gates, make the rest of the way here on foot, like usual, and find Camp Crystal Lake's inconspicuous trail. Inconspicuous? Jason echoed with a perplexed frown and another one of his customary head tilts. Of course he wouldn't understand. He quietly realized, your agitation weakening as you wondered how to explain it in a more kid-friendly way. Inconspicuous means, well, it means not clearly seeable or visible. Inconspicuous. He repeated interestingly, his mood swinging from enraged to excited within a heartbeat as he clapped his hands together multiple times. Inconspicuous. Not clearly seeable, not clearly visible. Yeah, that's right. You smiled faintly, releasing a light laugh and seeing that Jason had forgotten about said argument almost entirely. Camp Crystal Lake is extremely well hidden, so that's why hardly nobody follows me. Okay? In the end, I'm completely fine, and Jason learned a new word. Crystal Lake is really well hidden. Jason does a good job. Jason can keep a secret. The Crystal Lake killer joyfully cried aloud, currently sounding highly proud and pleased with himself while you muffled a second laugh. You sure can, you agreed sweetly, attempting to soften the previous situation, and you lower your former levels of anger. However, Mikhail had other plans, the jealous stalker hating just how much attention you've given to Jason, and just how much praise you've given him too. So the silent slasher pulled out his kitchen knife once more, and he shoved the other metal away from you maliciously, and then he stood directly in front of you, his excessive mannerisms dancing into play as you quickly became alarmed. Mikhail, calm down. There is no need for this, at least not right now. You frantically freaked out, knowing that deep down, noticing that nothing you could say could convince him to stop, especially since the two loathed each other. But in a minute or two later, Mikhail tucked his trusty weapon right back into his boiler suit's pocket and said, his notepad next response causing your eyes to widen with shock. This is stupid. We're going home right now. Come on, let's go already. Oh, this bitch. Oh, he wants to fight. Whew. Chapter 19. Mikhail versus Jason. Round 2? No. Jason bellowed at Mikhail with further hate, fury dripping from his tone as he gripped his pocket knife again and read the silent male's current note to you. Ryan's not going anywhere. She's not going anywhere except here. Wait, Jason, you nervously called, trying to interject and stop them from starting another fight. We talked about this, remember? All I wanted was a schedule, and all we have to do is now fix what happened today. Oh, this is a lot of words. Hold on. Just get out, he roared brutally, slashing at Mikhail with his pocket knife and beginning a battle in the process. Get out and leave us alone. We were fine until you came along. The cold-hearted stalker shook his head sharply, denying not only Jason's request to leave, but also the Crystal Lake's killer's remark about you being fine before he came along. No, she wouldn't have been in any actual danger if you and your pathetic little whining hadn't made her want to come here in the first place. You absolute moron. Mikhail psychotically scribbled. He distributed it in a deranged state, forcing you to feel continuously uneasy. It was you. Wait, hold on. Ryan isn't in any danger right now. Jason stamped furiously, swiping at the other slasher and behaving completely like a child would. It was you guys that made her upset in the first place. You guys made her run away, you jerks. I didn't do anything. Like I said before, it was the others. So don't you dare accuse me of hurting Ryan's feelings, fucking child. Mikhail spitefully scrawled, staring Jason down with the exact amount of rage and resentment. Just leave already. Jason screamed at him rudely, losing the rest of his sanity while he attempted to murder Mikhail once more. You're ruining everything. This is why nobody likes you. You're the worst, so just get out. Camp Crystal Lake is a sacred and special place. Jesus Christ. This was never going to end well. Not only were the both males stubborn, but they were ridiculously obstinate, unbelievably persistent, and insanely adamant, no matter what. So what were you supposed to do about it now? What could you even do about said problem? Both of you, stop it, you desperately sobbed in distress. Your tired out tears and miserable expression causing the two of them to stop fighting nearly immediately. But I'm tired of this, you wearily announced, stepping into the middle a second time and holding your hand up as a stop sign, thus preventing Jason from slashing at Mikael again. So enough, alright? Alright? But he was the one who I know what he did was wrong, really. You agreed with annoyance, dipping your head as a nod before spinning around and flicking your gaze towards Mikael instead. You shouldn't have entered Camp Crystal Lake without permission like that, Mikael. This place is a precious and preserved location, protected solely by Jason. This is something that you cannot forget. So he was trying to place the blame on me and trying to take you away from me at the very same time. Why would I let that happen? I can't let that happen. You're mine and I love you, understand? If violating some old cabins and breaking some useless rules is the only way to keep you safe, then so be it. Fuck Voorhees, we're leaving. Whether you like it or not. Mikael grittily responded, crumbling his notepad into one fist before pushing it back into his pocket. You dare insult Camp Crystal Lake? Jason snarled unstably, stomping his foot with even more rage and shaking as soon as his constricted eyes had spotted the stalker's final comment. You dare insult it to me? How dare you? Hey, you fearfully freaked out, knowing that although you got them to stop for a couple of minutes, it wouldn't matter. They'd just go back to fighting again. Mikael would carry on provoking Jason due to overprotectiveness. Jason would continue to be feeling hurt by Mikael's offensive words. And so this toxic circle would just never end. Just kind of like you're in right now, Miss Girl. And this is why I never get to go anywhere anymore. You muttered under your breath with a sarcastic sigh, raising your eyebrows straight afterwards before shaking your head to yourself. Then, Mikael, go back to Camp Crystal Lake's entrance and wait for me. Now. Mikael shook his head stubbornly, gripping your wrist and attempting to tug you with him. Leave Wyan alone, Jason shouted hotly, shoving the pale-faced slasher away from you with unbelievable strength. The violent stalker shook his head again, holding his kitchen knife out and demanding another fight while also narrowing his eyes straight towards the Crystal Lake killer. I'll be back by this evening, you hastily reminded Mikael, realizing that if you didn't stop this within a minute or two, they'd begin another battle, and quite frankly, you didn't know how many more of them you could handle. Mikael, you unhappily screamed, wanting to catch his attention and calm him down somehow. Luckily for you, and it ended up working. The white-masked male giving you one of his puzzled head tilts and wondering why you shrieked his name in the first place. Crap. What were you supposed to say? Now. Yeah, you wanted to stop the fight and calm them both down, but now what? What could you... If you calm down and wait for me by the entrance, I'll give you a goodbye kiss. You mumbled shyly, holding his left hand and his right one before giving it a squeeze and looking up at him with a pleading gaze. Come on, you know I don't ask for much. And this isn't that much to ask for now, is it? Besides, we haven't kissed in a while. And I know... And you know how much this means to me, so please? Pretty please with a cherry on top? Now, we'll find that in the next chapter if he actually agrees on that. I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry. I'm evil. Not really. I'm a bad bitch, guys. I'm sorry. This is so random. Anyways, I would continue, guys, but it is getting rather late for me, and I have competition tomorrow. And all that, it's a whole bunch of messes going around. Anyways, I hope you guys did enjoy it, though. Do you think Mikael is going to accept this or not? Let me know in the comments down below. I hope you guys did enjoy this, though. Like, subscribe, and hit the notification before more amazing videos, guys. Let me know how these videos are doing, because I am currently, as far as this video goes, I'm still editing on my laptop, and they are looking good. Had some errors, and I was about to cry, but you know, we pushed through and we made these videos. Okay, so that's a slay. I won't be able to make too many videos because I have competitions and I have my senior project and a whole bunch of shiz that Leslie has to worry about. It's a lot of stuff, guys. But don't worry, wish me luck on that, right? And I wish you guys luck as well. Anyways, I'm gonna have to cut this short, guys. I'm sorry. Bye, peace, y'all.